Hey rich girls, Kirby here, and today we are going to discuss the top 6 money habits that are keeping you poor. While some of these will hopefully be no-brainers, there are probably a few in here that you had never even thought of as holding you back. So let's dive in. This is Rich Girl's Guide, where we demystify the world of personal finance to help you create a financially successful and fulfilling life. I'm your host, Kirby Delicano, and I worked in wealth management for over 6 years before leaving the office to focus on my business and my family. We are jumping right in today with habit number 1, doing what everybody else is doing, just because everyone else is doing it. Now, you can take this a myriad of different ways, and however you take it is exactly how you should take it. For example, for me, this means that my home is not decorated with a brand new cream sofa and plush carpet with matching floor-length drapes. While I would love a bougie, super soft, Pinterest board, modern-looking cream sofa, that shit is just not gonna fly in my house. We have too many spilled drinks, cookie crumbs, soggy dog paws, and sticky toddler fingers for that to be a practical choice. I do not have the money to keep all that cream looking cream, okay? Now, for someone that is maybe renting an apartment in a large city, they might take this differently. They might go straight to home buying. Just because your peers are starting to buy homes or move to the suburbs, or your parents have been hounding you about settling down, does not mean that buying a home is going to be the best choice for you. Maybe you aren't sure how long you will stay in your current city, or maybe you just don't want to deal with the hassle and financial responsibility of being a homeowner. Whatever the case may be, just know that you do not have to take the natural next steps in life that everybody is doing just because everybody else is doing it. The same exact thing can be said for having a large, expensive wedding, getting your eggs frozen just in case you change your mind about having kids down the road, or even something as simple as not buying a Stanley Cup and using that $50 elsewhere. Don't waste your money or your time on things that don't matter to you. Real quick, if you're enjoying this episode, please consider hopping over to my YouTube channel and hitting that subscribe button. We are growing more and more by the day, which helps me to continue making more content for you. Thank you so much. Habit number 2, only paying the minimum balance on a credit card. While there may be certain times in your life that you will need to prioritize certain expenses, such as a mortgage or rent payment over a credit card payment, it can easily become a habit to only pay the minimum amount or less than the full amount owed on a credit card. And that, my friend, will start you on a dangerous path to rack up some major credit card debt. I have an entire episode on credit cards that I will link here if you need some more motivation and information on how credit card debt actually works. If this is something you tend to fall prey to, I would also highly recommend following someone else that is also on a credit card journey. There's this one influencer on TikTok, Brittany Reynolds, who started documenting her journey on paying off $36,000 of credit card debt. Not only was it entertaining and relatable to see her divvying out her paycheck every other Friday on payday, but the comment section was filled with other young people who found themselves in similar situations and decided to follow along with her and actually start paying off their own debt. Finding an accountability buddy, whether it's in real life or online, can really help you get out of the bad habit mindset and help you start to create a whole new habit in its place. Habit number 3, not sticking to some kind of budget. Again, I have a whole episode on how to actually stick to a budget, but essentially making a budget for yourself is like making a game plan for your financial day-to-day life. If you don't have any kind of budget and are just winging it in terms of buying what you want, when you want, and just paying as you go, you are really setting yourself up for an unpredictable financial future. This is especially true for people who make a lot of money. If you have no idea what you spend every month on certain categories or just in general, how are you possibly going to save appropriately for retirement? What happens if someone loses a job or a large unexpected expense pops up? No matter your income situation, you should absolutely have some kind of budget system in place so that at the very least you are informed of your spending habits and you know how much you need to be saving for the future. Habit number 4, letting your emotions dictate your financial decisions. Your emotional state can do a lot of harm when it comes to making rash financial decisions. Whether you experience a death in the family and decide to put your home up for sale a week later, if you have a mental illness that makes you susceptible to episodes of extreme shopping binges, or you are in a state of anxiety surrounding an election year and decide to pull all of your money out of the stock market on a whim. Those took a bit of a dark turn, but I will say there are a lot of darker, less talked about circumstances in life that will lead to bad financial decisions and bad financial outcomes. Just because these things can be a bit darker doesn't mean that we should not talk about them. If anything, I think those kinds of things need to be talked about more so that people can more easily recognize when something is bothering them, if something traumatic does happen, and they just know that they're not alone and others have gone through this too. Identifying someone that you can talk to and confide in, whether it's a family member or a close friend, they can get through to you in these dark times and help you find like a therapist or some kind of a professional to really get you the help that you need before any drastic financial decisions have been made. Now, if it's something lighter, let's say you just went through a tough breakup, and again, having a person to talk to and vent to can be such a big lifesaver. They might be able to actually talk you off a ledge of dropping a few $1,000s on extensions, lip filler, a new fit, or at least distract you for a few days and make you think about those purchases a bit more before you actually go out and do it. Just make sure to identify someone that you feel comfortable with talking to. Habit number 5, only purchasing brand new items. Now, this can include anything from clothing, furniture, home decor, picture frames, books, children's shoes. If you go to any kind of secondhand children's store, you will find mountains of brand new, never used shoes for a fraction of the price. My point is, if you get in the habit of only buying brand new items anytime you need to purchase anything, that is going to be a very hard habit to break. Years ago, I had to sit myself down and have a real conversation about my Target obsession. Yes, I know, I was the epitome of a basic white that would peruse the aisles in Target just for fun and end up leaving with $200 worth of crap that I simply did not need. Was it cute? Of course it was. Did I need it? No. I think one of my breaking points was a springtime haul where I got quote unquote useful things, plant seeds, planters, colorful watering cans for my toddler and baby, new springtime outfits, of course, that would inevitably only get worn once or twice before the girls outgrew them, and of course, some cute spring decor for our house. Hundreds of dollars later, I was unloading my new haul and I was trying to find a home for everything, when I realized I still had seeds from last spring that I never used. That got me thinking. I probably could have gotten cheap planters from Goodwill, used the not as cute watering can that we already owned, and gotten my kids a brand new outfit from the secondhand store that was just as cute and only a few dollars. Now, this is not to say that you can never buy brand new items. That would just be super impractical for most of us. But if you can swap out even a quarter of your brand new purchases for previously owned items, your bottom line could be greatly impacted. And I will say 2 things about finding secondhand items. First, you will be much more likely to only get things that you actually need instead of being distracted by the pretty marketing and pretty packaging and potentially purchasing something that you already have or don't really have a purpose for. Everything at Target. Second, when you do find something secondhand that is a great steal or you're really proud to have found it for such a great price, you will be so much happier every time you see it or use it, as opposed to being resentful for overpaying for it. Now, this also leaves room for you to still buy new items, but by putting more thought and intention into each purchase, overall, you are inevitably going to purchase less quantity and most likely a higher quality, which will in turn last you longer. We are all collectively over having the perfectly curated, Instagram-worthy home and life. Everyone is so much more into the candid conversations and real life being shown. And I think the next natural evolution of that is going to be a lot more thrifting and recycling and getting rid of those like huge hauls and big box store purchases. Habit number 6, surrounding yourself with people who have bad money habits. We all know the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And while I don't necessarily think that's 100% true, I do believe that you will start to take on qualities of those you spend a lot of time with. If you are surrounded by people who are always buying new clothes and new bags, they're always talking about never having enough money in their bank account, but they'll also drop $100 at a boozy brunch. They complain that they don't make enough money and yet they're not working any extra hours or trying to improve their career path. It might be a time to rethink some of those relationships, or at least add in some new ones. Now, part of growing up and becoming a self-sufficient adult is making mistakes. I would be lying through my teeth if I said I hadn't done any of those things that I just mentioned. If you're fresh out of college or high school and you start making a decent paycheck for the first time in your life, it might take a few months or even a few years to really get used to having a consistent paycheck and setting a budget and everything that comes with being a young adult. Having said that, once this whole adult thing isn't brand new anymore, if your friends are still acting like they are 21 and making poor financial decisions and not learning from those mistakes and 30's coming around the corner, it's going to be a lot easier for you to continue down that path and keep making the same mistakes right alongside them. Maybe branch out, find some hobbies, meet some new people, and who knows, maybe you'll pick up a few new good money habits. Alright guys, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me. I hope at least one of these bad money habits spoke to you and maybe made you think a bit harder about how and why you spend your money the way you do. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes, and feel free to drop a comment on YouTube or submit an anonymous question at the link in the description. I'll be back on Thursday with a brand new video. Till then, have a great week. Later, rich girls.